Hello all, my name is Tyler,
And I'm John.
and together we are DeLong Rigging Solutions, or DRS for short.
All right, let's talk about operation of a fly system in a show mode. So running a cue during a show. In a cue during a show, if you, particularly on a road show, but in an in-house show as well, that it comes into play. But on a road show, you have somebody giving you instructions, telling you, and they'll have a cue sheet up that shows what your track is running and what your cues are. It'll have speeds for the move. May have some other notes about the move. But in preparation for a show, one of the things that we do in this theater, and different flymen have different preferences, but what we do in this theater is that if there are line sets that don't move during the show, they're masking or they're electrics or they're dead pipes that aren't in use, if it doesn't move during the show, then we bundle it together. That helps avoid someone coming up and grabbing the wrong line set, and it gets things out of the way. It makes it more clear to run the line sets that need to run during the show. This particular line set right now is at its high trim. So I'm going to get a cue from either from the fly rail or from the stage manager or from a signal light that tells me that I'm in a warning for a move. Then it's going to tell me that I'm in a ready for a move. At this point, if I'm in a ready, I'm going to squeeze my lines together. I may kick the foot block, but that's a kind of a questionable thing because kicking the foot block makes a lot of noise sometimes. So depending on the nature of the show and how quiet or loud the show is, you might want to be cautious about that. But I like to give it just a little bit of slack so that I can squeeze those ropes together a little easier. Then I'm going to open the lock and I'm ready for my cue. I'm watching my signal light. I get my go cue and I'm going to bring my pipe in to my trim. My trim is a blue ribbon. It's going to be coming at me. All right, I see it. It's coming in. I'm going to go pretty solid, steady speed all the way till I hit that trim mark. I'd like to not stop and restart. I'd like it to be all one smooth, straight move till I hit that trim mark. When I hit the trim mark, I'm going to put the ring back on the lock, and I'm going to step away from the rail so that the flyman, the head flyman for the show or the stage manager can see that I'm done. They may have a protocol for saying cue complete or something along those lines, but usually the touring fly person is going to deal with that. If my cue is an out cue, so that scene's over, we're ready to go to another set, so I'm in a warning for a cue, I'm going to take my ring off the lock, set it down, I'm going to watch my signal light, I'm going to come into a ready. Now I'm going to be a little more cautious about kicking the rail or kicking the foot block here at this point, because if I do that it might move the set piece and the scene's not quite over. But I'm going to get here ready and I'm going to squeeze my lines together. I'm in a ready, so I'm going to unlock. And I've got a go cue, so I'm going to take my pipe out. I'm watching for my trim tape to come. There's my ribbon, and I'm going to try to smoothly stop right on that spike. In this house, the method we use, our high trims are on the back line and in line with the red paint mark on the T-rail. Different shows have different needs. The flyman for the show may give you some pretty detailed instructions about a particular piece or the way it needs to move. Sometimes the road flyman may ask permission to do a move himself if it's a particularly delicate or sensitive cue. And in most theaters, if we're asked politely and courteously, then that's not a problem. We're glad to accommodate. But that's something that's kind of a circumstance by circumstance deal. So out cues, red trim on the back rail in this theater, low trims or mid trims at the rope lock, and the main thing about them is to try and be smooth. Constant speeds the speeds as indicated on the cue sheet, and smooth stops at high and low trims so that you don't have any, it doesn't look like a mistake. It looks like you intended to do it. So you come all the way to the trim, and as you saw, when I have a trim coming into the low trim, I'm watching for that ribbon to come. When it gets close to me, I'm going to grab it right above the ribbon, and I'm going to take it down right to the lock and try to stop without bouncing. All right, there are lots of variations, lots of situations that fit specific shows, but that's the basics. The other thing to remember, as we talked about, is get stuff secured that you don't need and have it out of your way, and just take it off of the table as far as opportunities to accidentally move it. Another thing to be aware of is that when you're moving a piece during the show, you want to watch the same as you would on a load in or load out when you have a clear stage. But during a show, the odds are good that you can't really see what you're moving. You may have dimmer racks in the way, cables in the way, set masking in the way, moving pieces on the floor in the way. You may just not be able to see it. In that case, your stage manager or your touring flyman would be in charge of spotting those pieces for you and calling stops. If there's an actor or another set piece, anything that causes you need to stop, if you see it, obviously you're going to stop, but it's really the responsibility of the show stage manager and the show head flyman to give you any warnings about pieces that need to stop or slow down and to spot for you. Your main job, your primary job, is to move the piece on the cue and to hit the trims.
Please remember that DeLong Rigging Solutions one-shot train videos are meant as general overviews. Every system is different. Every venue has different procedures. All statements made make certain assumptions about systems and venue similarities. Nothing can replace on-site training with a qualified individual. If ever you have a question or concern about rigging, do not hesitate to reach out to us or another qualified vendor in your area.